welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Rise Every Nation. We got a special treat. I get my brother King Kofi is back in the building, and he's bringing some friends with us. How are you doing today, good sir?
I can't complain. Everything is well. It's been a while since we got together, as always.
I know. Please tell me
Again,
Kitchens for Good is back in effect, and I could get me some of that good food at one of the farmers
we,
market.
yeah, we actually we're trying to get space in the airport. But you know what? For you, I gotta specially invite you and bring you to the house so we can make you special one.
Yes.
Because that's just the way it has to be. But everything has been great. You know me, I'm always doing some working on some projects. So I'm hoping today I brought my friend here, Wesley, whom I know from the music scene, an amazing trombone player.
Hey.
We met in the music scene, and there's some event, there's some urgent matters that we kind of put our heads together and say, okay, we got to do something about it. So we called you, say, if it's any way we can talk about it, try to get more support and
Yeah.
get people to hear what's going on and how they can help.
Yeah.
So basically, that is what I'm here. But everything is well. I can't complain. If I
No.
complain, it won't be fair.
No worries, no worries. And you always got a home back here anytime we got an important message to get out to the people. Definitely want to do that. And for those who haven't got a chance to connect with you, my new listeners, I mean, you can see, you go back and revisit his episode, but just give a quick elevator pitch. Who are you?
Who am I? I always like to call myself the Renaissance man. I have multiple degrees in engineering, one in mechanical and in aerospace. And I work during the day, I work as an aerospace engineer, designing aircraft and stuff like that. At night, I'm a musician, percussion. I also have a small little mobile company, food it's called Word of Mouth Kitchen. That's how we go from farmers market to farmers market. And I've been doing this since 2015. Um, and then in addition to that, I'm also a playwright and film writer. In fact, I just finished shooting my first short film. I wrapped it up October 6th. It's in post production right now. So the question, who am I? I always go, I'm Kofi. I am a Renaissance man. I like to. I have a curious mind. So wherever I see a hole that is curious, I stick my head right inside it.
I
And
love
that's
it.
basically what it is. But before I go on, I actually like to send a shout out to. There's supposed to be three additional guys supposed to be here. They couldn't. One is the Band of Gringos band. These are great guys.
Yeah.
They've been wonderful to me. They've been good friends. So I want to send a shout out to them. And also Gypsy Sally. Gypsy Sally is also some great musicians. And these guys, I wish you meet them. They have a heart of gold. And of course, unfortunately, they couldn't. And last but not least, my music partner, my best friend, my best buddy, his name is Kendrick. Kendrick is also has in fact, he's a guy you should have on this show. He also has a
Tell him
mobile
to come on.
company.
We got plenty of space.
I will tell him.
Whenever
Yeah.
he's ready.
I will definitely tell him. And he's a guy that I play music with. We have a group called the Africains, and this guy is incredible.
Yeah.
Lyrics writer and stuff like that. So I want to send a shout out to all those three guys, those three people.
Love
And
it.
of
Love
course, I got my man Wesley Etienne, and Wes is going to talk about himself. So I don't even want to. I won't do it any justice.
it. Wesley, tell the people who you are.
Yes, my name's Wesley Etienne. I'm from San Diego. I'm a multi-instrumentalist, but I mainly play trumpet and trombone in our music scene over here. Um, I've been blessed in the last couple of years to be able to meet people like Kofi and a bunch of new people. I feel like the San Diego music scene has a big community, and everyone kind of talks to each other and
Yeah.
contact, and we're pretty open-minded community as well. So
Man.
that's why I'm really stoked to be here today and bring some attention to what's going on in Haiti and some issues like that. And it was great. One day I got a call from Kofi, and he was telling me about how Haiti's been on his heart. And my father's from Haiti, and it's been something that it's always on my heart because I have family that's still living there, so I'm constantly trying to keep in touch and see what's going on with them. And it's there are people of topic that they don't get spoken about pretty often. Um, for all that's going down in Haiti, people don't talk about them as much as I feel like they should. And it was kind of on my heart when Kofi brought it up to me. It was like, wow, someone's actually aware of what's going on. Someone's bringing this into conversation, and that's the first part. Is bringing it up and talking about it. And there's an event that Kofi's been kind of like the ringleader, the one making it happen. He's been really getting people together and bringing attention to it. And I feel like there's no better way to do it than through music.
Yeah.
Because the people in San Diego, we love
Right.
our music, and we all get together and we get happy. And even if only one person leaves there and does something about it, that's one more person, and that's kind of how you get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and we want to dive into that conversation today. I love that we come here to San Diego and do the arts and music scene. We get to meet all these people from different cultures. And what's the chance of two Haitians meeting here in San Diego and and get together? They're showing love to Haiti. Shout out to all my Haitians who listen. Ça passe. Hopefully I said that right.
You know what's even beautiful is this. I'm actually from Ghana. I'm African, and but Haiti's always been a special place because I never differentiate Haitians or Jamaicans or any of the Caribbeans.
Right.
I never differentiate them between them, and I always call them Africans because they are.
Yeah.
Typically when I look at the black diaspora, I always say, so long as your skin is dark, I say you're African, my brother. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I mean,
But
all of
especially
our roots are from there. We carry little bits of our culture
Yeah.
with us
Yeah.
when we get separated. But yeah,
Yeah, and so for me, the Caribbeans, Haiti, especially Haiti and Jamaica. I mean, look, I've been to Haiti a long time ago, and I got there and I felt like home. I felt like I was home. I feel like, dude, this is home right here. So I've always looked at them as my extended tribes just relocated. Maybe an island someplace.
yeah.
You know,
Now,
but yeah.
before we dive into Haiti topic, how did you two meet? Just out of curiosity, give me the story.
So we met, like I said, this the Band of Gringos. These are three guys, the three local guys that grew up here. They've been playing together since they were in high school. And I met them through a friend. My friend Phoebe introduced me to Spencer, who's the drummer. And then Spencer introduced me to the band. And then since then, they've been great because I play percussion. They invite me to go on to play with them on a big stage and stuff like that. And then one time they were doing a show. I forgot what show it was, but it was a once festival, and they had a big guest. And Wes was playing with Wes was in there playing trombone. He was actually and that's how we met. And that was it. And then ever since we've been playing at least a couple shows together with this band. So that's basically how we met. And also just through the music scene around, because his main band, he plays in a band called Booster. And like he said earlier, in San Diego, especially OB, is a very tight community in terms of the musicians. So if you know one, you're gonna know the rest, and it just keeps going on.
Yeah.
And so that's how I met him. Basically met him. We played together on one stage, and I saw the way this man was making love to that trombone. I'm like, man, I haven't seen that in years. So I went to him and said, man, I want to work with you on some album because trombone is a dying art. Those horn instruments are dying art. And to see somebody still keeping up with it and doing a great job at it, I was amazed. And so that's how we met.
Man.
The rest is history.
Wesley, was it like meeting this brother for the first time after you got off, blazing your trombone on stage?
I mean, Kofi's one of those guys. He's very humble too. Because after I first met him, I shake his hand, and if you know anything about shaking a percussionist's hand, they got thick skin.
Yeah.
They got thick skin in their hand. And if they don't, it's because they don't practice. So when I shook his hand, I was like, oh man, yeah, this guy's about it. Man, he's about it. His skin's all calloused, and honestly, that was the first day I met him. I didn't know if I'd see him again, but as you mentioned, the San Diego music scene, it's really tight knit. So it's like I'm playing a gig with my main band, Boostive, and then Kofi's there. I'm like, okay, he's here. And then I play a festival. And I'm just walking. I see Kofi there, and I'm like, okay, Kofi's here. It's like I can't avoid the guy, even if I wanted to. It's impossible. Um, so I'm glad he's a great guy because I'd be stuck with him regardless.
Oh yeah, I
But yeah,
mean, we have to. I mean, I figured, the moment I met him, I was like, this guy, the trombone, this is
Yeah.
it.
yeah,
Well, you're both great people in my hearts, because you're willing to bring such an important topic about Haiti, and I'm glad Haiti was on your heart, and you wanted to bring it here to talk about it so that we can enlighten people. So educate us. What's going on in Haiti right now, and why is Haiti on your heart?
So Haiti is. I always say the world has done Haiti wrong,
Yeah.
in a nutshell. But I don't want to. I don't want to make this into politics or to blame the world for it. Haiti is actually one of the first. In hindsight, Haiti is one of the oldest republic in history.
Hmm.
They were, many, many, many moons ago, when slavery was such a huge thing in the world, Haitians were smart enough to know that this thing isn't the future. And they
Hmm.
work hard to buy their freedom, well, to get out of it. And in doing
Hmm.
so, they've paid dearly for it. And they were the first colony in 1804 that slaves actually defeated their colonizers and gained their freedom. And in doing so, now first of all, the reason France and all these European countries went there is because Haiti is rich in indigo, coffee, and some minerals. And
Hmm.
so they were very, very. It was a very rich. It provided a lot of wealth for the colonists. So
Hmm.
when they broke free, they basically say enough. They can't. They say we don't want to deal with this slavery anymore. They established their own republic, and they wanted to trade these things to the world. But the world basically said, well, you've kind of screwed up the the slave trade process, so we're not gonna deal with you.
Mm.
And so because of that, Haiti couldn't sell their products unless they pay some kind of reparation. And so what end up
Wow.
happening is they end up paying like 150 million francs in gold. Today, that kind of money will be ridiculously high.
Hmm.
Now, some historians claims that this is what Haiti never ever caught up after paying that. That may be so, but to me, it's all been this has been the maybe the issues that even internally created issues. There's corruption, there's all these things, and so Haiti has never been a country in which for the first Black Republic they've never been able to live it because in constant this internal there's also even the U.S. at some point came in and took all your gold, and the Haitian goes, "What the hell you doing?" And the
Mm.
EU says, "Well, the debt you own France. We have actually bought that debt from France, so you now own us. And so we're
Mm.
taking that as a payment." So it's been a constant battle after battle after battle after battle, both external and internal. Corruption, all kinds of stuff.
Hmm.
Now, a few years ago, they had I think it's right after about a year or so ago, they had a president that was assassinated.
Hmm. Yep.
And unfortunately, after that, the country just fell into gangs. Like you go to the streets and the gangs that are holding everything, fuels are scarce to the point where even water is scarce. Now, what killed me was one night I came from a performance with the Band of Gringo,
Hmm.
and I couldn't sleep. And some things I go listen to the news, and I hardly listen to the news before I go to bed. So I turned on to BBC, NPR, and NPR had a BBC thing on there, and they talk about some of these issues going on in Haiti. But what broke my heart was water is so things that we take for granted. Water is so scarce over there that a mother has to take a water running through the streets, put 3 drops of chlorine or 3 drops of bleach in it to quench the children's thirst. And
Wow.
because of that, there's cholera and all kinds of stuff just ramping up huge. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, why are we not hearing about this? And I kind of figured, in the world right now, there's multiple wars going on. And so a lot of time, they focus on the big things and the small things there. Nobody, not that they don't care. It's just the reality of it. So I was tossing turning, wake up in the morning. Literally, I woke up 4:30 in the morning. I sent I sent the Band of Gringos a text and say, dude, guys, you think we can do something about it at a live concert? And these guys, they didn't even, it was not even no brainer. Goes, oh, hell yeah, we're in. And I called Wes, and Wes said, oh, yeah, hell yeah, I'm in. And it just stopped rolling. So to me, some of the problem going on is very simple issue in the sense that there's water crisis. The people can't even afford water. Even if we can somehow raise money to buy even a one water purification system, that's cool. But it is crazy to wake up and hear that mothers have to put 3 drops of bleach in the water to quench the children's thirst. That's
Yeah.
just, I'm no angel by Jesus. That's just that's hard. That's disheartening.
Yeah.
So that is what is happening over there, and it's continuously right now. There's still literally there's a debate in the NATO right now. In the UN as to what do they do? Is do they send troops out there to
No.
break the gangs and all that? America is hesitant to go in there, and rightfully so. In fact, the Haitians don't want American there because every time Americans have gone there,
Yeah.
it's become worse. And it's not because the Americans are doing anything bad. It's just become that way. So the Haitians are hesitant to have the Americans come in, and the
Yeah.
Americans are hesitant to go in because for obvious reasons. My hope, honestly, will be if I had any power in all this, my hope will be to somehow the African countries, the Africa we have the National African, it's almost like a UN equivalent. My hope will be if the African countries really gather troops and go out there and kind of break these gangs up. I think that would be really symbolic and beautiful because that will mean that at least the Africans are coming in with their own to support their own, as opposed to always relying on the West to do solve our problems for us. But unfortunately, I don't think anybody is thinking that way. But right now, the streets
Yeah.
and the streets and all that is being run by gangs, and to me, I think is we need to raise some awareness. So that's why we're trying to put some live music event together to do that on December 18th.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
that's
Thank you
basically
for
that's what's happening,
that
and I'm sure Wesley is actually more. Wesley's family is dad is from there, so he probably more he knows more about this than I do. And so I'll let him
yeah.
talk more about some of this stuff as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
the
thank you for
biggest
giving us
issue I
the
feel like
history
that's
lesson
happening.
as well too. Sorry, go
Yes.
ahead, Wesley. Go ahead, Wesley.
Um, One of the issues I see that's happening with Haiti that, and to leave politics out of this, is when a people have been hurt by their leaders, by people they're supposed to be able to trust, it gets passed down through generations. It's no different than if I put my hand on a stove and it burns me. I'm not gonna trust the stove the next time, even if it's
Yeah.
off. I'm gonna be hesitant to trust if I can get near it. And because Haiti's had problems with their leaders and with government, the community of people have trust issues, which is it's valid. It's valid for them to have these trust issues, and because of that, you have people doing scandals with helping each other, where they don't want to trust if someone actually is going to help them in their own communities or if they're going to be robbed. And this is even in my own household, growing up with my father. If because we didn't grow up having a lot, and when someone would offer some kind of help, even he would be like, "What's the catch? What's going on?" And I feel like doing community work, like we're trying to do with this thing, will help certain people have faith in their common man.
Right.
And that's a huge thing where it's like people need to be able to trust their neighbors, people in their community. And doing things like this show people, like, you know what, you don't have to fear your brother, you don't have to fear your sister, you can have faith in humanity, not to say just to run out there and trust everybody, but that needs to take place. And I know it's been a problem for Haiti for a long time, and I don't know exactly like the absolute answer for it. I've been asked that many times, like, what do you think would absolutely help them? I said, I don't know, but I know where to, where we can start. And
Yeah.
Haiti's had problems with water. That's a huge thing that Kofi mentioned. Is they've had problems with water for a long time. And right before the earthquake happened, um, my father he came over to the U.S. I want to say around the 80s. I want to say 80s or late 70s, and he never went back to Haiti until the year of the earthquake, because his whole family was telling him like, "Oh, you can't. It's really bad. If they know you came from the United States and you're going back, like you can get kidnapped. You can get like held for ransom." So my father wasn't able to see his sister for years, probably over like 30 years since he came to the U.S. Uh, both of his brothers died of like yellow fever, and he couldn't go back because they were saying it wasn't a safe time. And when he finally decided to go back to Haiti, they told him, "Be careful about drinking any water. You can get very sick." So when he went back, he didn't drink any water. Um, and he was very careful about it. People would offer him water, he'd say no, thank you. But one day, his sister made him some lemonade, and he didn't think about that she put ice cubes in it. And he drank that lemonade, and he got flown back to San Diego, and he was skinny like a stick because he had got so sick. He had an emergency flight. They brought him back in, went straight to the emergency room, pale in the face, like his skin was all sunken in. And the day after the earthquake happened,
Wow.
the day after he got back, the earthquake happened. He wouldn't have been able to make it back to San Diego. But I remember when he was finally healthy enough to have conversation with them, and I asked him, "How was Haiti? Like, was it exciting to go back?" And I remember seeing tears in his eyes, where he said, "I remember being a kid, and when my father was a kid, both his parents they had passed away when he was like 11, so he grew up without parents." And he said, "I remember thinking, as a kid, we were poor, trying to figure out how to get food or try to eat. I remember thinking Haiti couldn't get any worse." And he said, when I went there, I saw people would be walking and they would just use the restroom right where they were standing
Wow.
in certain neighborhoods. And the amount of poverty he said he saw there was even bigger than it was when he was a child. And my father's born in he was born in 62. So he was a child around the 60s. And now this is 50 or so years later when he was talking about it got worse. And this was before the earthquake.
Yeah.
The earthquake happened the day after he got back, and it's only gotten worse since then. A lot of people tried to seek refuge in the U.S. The U.S. took people over, helped some people, but of course there's a cap because there's only so much we can do.
Yeah.
And right now, in TJ, you have a lot of Haitian people who have somehow they came to the U.S. Well, they tried to get through the U.S. through Mexico, but they got stopped, and now they're in TJ. And you can go down there and go to a restaurant, order tacos or something like that, and someone who looks just like me is making your food. And it's because the Haitian people have always been adaptable. They've always learned how to change. They've always learned how to overcome, and they've always known how to fight. And when you see a culture and a group of people who have been able to do that, it blows my mind that we don't do that much to help. Because we're like, man, these people, they're not sitting back with their hands out doing nothing. Like, hey, we're not doing anything. They're making it work. You have people who just moved to Mexico, just came through, speaking the language, speaking Spanish perfectly, adapting to the culture, learning how to make money, learning how to make it happen for their families.
Yeah.
And that's an example I've seen through the Haitian family I have. Growing up, when we didn't have much. My father had like 3 or 4 jobs. Take a quick nap on the couch, get back out there, he's like, hey, I got a family. I got to take care of them. It's like, you know how to do this? He's like, no, but I'm going to learn.
Yeah.
Got himself a trade or something to make it happen. And the Haitian people have always been that way. They will always overcome. And I think when you have people who've given us such an example of that, we need to take care of them. They were the first successful slave rebellion in the world. And to get into that without being too political, it's like, to be the first successful slave rebellion, that's not just like something you can just like sneeze at. You know, it's like that's huge. It's
Mm-hmm.
showing people that when there's obstacles in your way, when things are wrong, if you get the people together and you get your mind together and you have a good heart, you can overcome anything. That's the message I learned from that. Was like the US couldn't even beat Napoleon. At the time we had lost battles to him.
Yeah.
And some slaves came together. And we had all the weapons in the United States. They had the weapons, they had the army, and they still couldn't beat Napoleon.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow some slaves came together and put their minds together and made it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And now now when they're in their worst parts of life, just to turn our backs on them and like kind of forget that they're there, when they led a lot of, you know, hope for even the American slaves when word was going back and forth through the American, and they were like, do you know what happened in Haiti? Do you know that they overcame?
Mm-hmm.
You know that we can overcome?
Mm-hmm.
If they can do it, surely we can do it. And there was a lot of that happened that inspired Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And now we have to take care of them. You know, and we have to bring light to what's going on, because like Kofi said before, sometimes it feels like if we don't do it, it might not happen.
Yeah.
yeah. And just to add something, I want to go back to and add something, stress on something that Wes says really, really important about um, trusting our brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this, I'm saying this not as a political device, but to wait to for our own people to hear this.
Mm-hmm.
There's this psychological damage that unfair systems like apartheid, slavery, colonialism have done to marginalized people like dark skins, women, and stuff like that. There's this psychological damage, even Africans is in us, that but nobody doesn't want to admit to me. What has created that, it has turned us against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that we become like moths. And I don't know if you ever see a moth at night.
Mm-hmm.
A moth, when you put on a white light, a moth always flies to that white light because it is always thinking that is the normal,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's this damage that has psychological damage that we've inherited from this system. And that's not to say we need to get over it and start to realize that we need to get over it and understand that at the end of the day, we got each other. One of the things I admire about the Jewish community, okay, is the sense of togetherness. The Jewish community do this so well, it's crazy. In fact, they do this so well that some idiots even take, hatred to them. That's ridiculous. And that's one reason. One of the things I admire about the Jewish, they're so together. You see two Jewish people together, the sense of struggle, the sense of the stuff they go through, is what makes them together and move them forward. We need to start really looking into that because, like Wesley said, we have to break down that wall and say, look, you can trust me. We have some bad things. Yeah, we've done stupid things to each other, but at this point in time, trust me. And I think that's where things like this, that's where things like this helps. In that,
Mm-hmm.
if we can take matters in our own hands and try to help our own, perhaps we chip away that little wall a little bit and start to erode that the damage that we've created for ourselves, saying, "Oh, you can't trust each other" and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it really, 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 that makes it really important. But Wesley said, for me, the Haitians, the inspiration, they're very, very intelligent people because
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, in the 1800s, for a small country like that to even think, okay, slavery is not the future, to even see that slavery is not the future when that was the main economic system.
Mm-hmm.
And for a small country to even have that revelation, to know that slavery isn't the future and fought and changed that, to me, that's incredible. If Haiti was any place like any country today, they'll be the richest by definition. They should be the richest in the world right now because
Mm-hmm.
their eyes were open way before any one of these
Mm-hmm.
countries did. But unfortunately, like the rest of it, because of the internal struggles, the stuff we done to each other, the corruption, all these things was generate these things. But I think doing something like this really helps us to kind of again
Mm-hmm.
erode some of this psychological damage that we have created for ourselves and say, look, we can build this together. We can be like 1804. bunch of slaves got together and said, "Hell no more. We can do this again because we've done it."
Mm-hmm.
It's not new to us. We have done it and we can do it again. That to me is really the what that's what inspires me, and the fact that it's just abomination to sit around and say somebody can quench their thirst. Simple water. If anything's abundance in this earth is water.
Mm-hmm.
That's why life exists. And the fact that a group of people cannot get a clean water to quench their thirst, to me, is an abomination. It's a embarrassment on the human race, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with that. And as I hear both of you talk with such passion and knowledge and story sharing, I think of some people don't even know the story of how Haiti has done what they've done to rebel and overcome, and especially in the U.S. that's not often taught in the textbook. So there's a lack of knowledge and awareness and education on that. The second point you make about us coming together like Haiti did to have that rebellion, and I think that is probably the biggest key right there. Us as Pan Africans, and I like to use the term Pan Africans because we're all Africans across the diaspora,
Hmm.
and so that's the collective term I like to use to describe all of us. Whether you're Haitian, African, Nigerian, Jamaican, Black Colombian, right? We all Pan. If all the Pan Africans across the diaspora, no matter where you're at, if we were to band together in a collective and start the process of healing, because there's
Yep.
been some emotional,
Yes.
psychological damage that's been done in like all those different systems you named, from apartheid to colonialism, you name it, right? Even some that we've done to each other in trying to fit into those different systems that didn't really work for us. That's the first part of our process to being able to band together, start our healing process together so that we can trust one another, and then build systems together, co-create together that work for us. What would you say, both of you, when you think about what I'm subscribing as the healing of us as, you know, Pan Africans all across the world? What would you say is the first steps to really doing that healing
I think
together?
I think the first step of that is one, acknowledge acknowledge that, look, yes, something happened, and let it go. Let slavery go. We know enough. We know the damage done to us. Let it go. That to me, I actually think is the first step. The second step, that's probably most important, is that we need to recognize the essence of who we are
Hmm.
and build the economy around it. Don't stop following the West blindly. Africans, Pan Africans, we're not time people. We're cultivators. Let's look at the essence of who we are and develop the economy around it. From centuries, that's how we live. We're cultivators. We are creators. That's what we do. This idea of the West economy with the capitalist and the stock market and all that, it is not the way we live. It's not the way we function. Even the West in itself, that idea is slowly chipping away. It's not sustainable. For years, centuries, Pan Africans have lived in a way that is sustainable. It's not a coincidence. If you look at the way we lived back then, and how even the Native American lived, the similarities. It's not coincidence. It's not coincidence. We need to go back to that basics and figure that out. We are social beings. Let's not be afraid of it. Be social. Let's develop economic system that is balanced to create opportunity around that. That is how we free ourselves. Now, how do we do that? We do that by small communities.
Mm.
You know, small communities, and even a lot of people, with all these Earth universe, save the Earth going on, a lot of people are resolving to uh, uh, um, electric cars. I'm like, electric cars is not the solution.
Hmm.
It isn't. The solution is small communities. So for what everybody wants is right there. They don't need a car to go drive anywhere, which is exactly how Pan Africans lived for years. Even Native Americans. We need to go back to that, and that start with this kind of stuff. Community. If somebody needs help, we stand up, we figure a way to make him self-sustainable. Because at the same time, I don't want to sit here and preach some kind of a complete socialist. No, it needs to be balanced. It needs to be a half and half, in the sense that if somebody's in need, we have a community in which we support the person to be self-sustained, and then so he can also take it and move it forward and keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
This to me is how we solve some of these issues and heal ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But the most important thing to really heal us, we need to let go. We need to not look everything as is a race, is a thing. No,
Mm-hmm.
there's some things that are we get it. We get it. These systems have done some really despicable things to us, but that's the thing. We can't hold on to it for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We have to let it go and say, you know what? Fine, it's done to us. Whatever it is, we can beat it because we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
We've done it. Look at it, our history. We've done it so many times. Not even Haitians, even back in the day, Zulus, Ashantis, they've defeated the British with just nothing more than spears and machetes. We've
Mm.
done this. We're capable of doing this. Civilization existed way before in Africa. We were doing this before the Western even discovered us. But unfortunately, our history is oral. We never write things down. And so
Mm-hmm.
people think we never had this. You watch, we've been doing this. We're capable of doing this.
Yeah.
So to me, the healing process will let it go and let's try to form small communities and take care of each other to be self-sufficient so they can also move forward to try to, carry the torch forward. Otherwise, we're going to be forever following the West blindly. And one of the things I'm actually afraid of is years from now, we keep going the way we're going, our culture, our sense of the way we think is all going to disappear. It's all going to be replaced by Eurocentrism, which is
Yeah.
exactly what people are fighting for.
Yeah.
People are fighting for that. So that's what I think. To me, I think that's how we heal each other.
Yeah. I like that. I like everything that you said about that. Because some of the things I think about too, because growing up here in the U.S. But having my dad is Nigerian, as you know, so growing up in both worlds. At home, I'm raised in very prideful Nigerian culture and knowing those roots, and then I go out in the world as Black culture and seeing how some Black Americans are very disconnected from their roots, so they have more of a Eurocentric mindset, right?
Yes.
And those thoughts kind of are sometimes anti-Black in the ways that they don't even realize or see. You know, all that to say, when you think of that based on the healing process, and how we show up and how we educate and support each other, what are some ways that the African diaspora can continue or continues to affect Black people across the world today?
I think the many ways. For me, the one way, probably the one way I see it is, again, I don't know if you're familiar with what. I'm not a big, huge fan of Israel as a country, but one of the things they do incredibly well that I really admire is that any Jewish person anywhere in this world at age 18, Israel will pay for your trip to come visit Israel, see the place, and even try to connect you with people out there. I think the African countries should do that for the Pan Africans,
Hmm.
meaning that no matter where you are, whether you're Haitian, Jamaican, we should create a means for you to have a passage and migrate it to Africa if you need to. I've always had this thing that my when I say this, my friends always raise eyebrow, and I say Africa needs to be maintained a black continent or a
Hmm.
dark skinned continent. And I say this, and a lot of people go, "Whoa!" With the exception of not to say that. That's not to say to the people or anything like that. No, that's
Hmm.
just basically to say if you look at the world, I don't care where you go, and I don't care how good a place is America is probably one of the best places for race and everything. But what I find, I've traveled a lot, and what I find out, no matter where you go, the darker your skin is, the I don't want to say the worse off you are, but the less respect you get. And so, to me, the reason I say that Africa needs to also be maintained a black continent, so the Haitians, the Jamaicans, everybody can have a direct path to it, is because it can always serve as a refuge. At least if all fails, a Pan African can say, you know what? At least I can go to Africa and be okay. If we lose that land, or we lose that to say make it becomes more and more Eurocentric, and we lose that. To me, there isn't any place on earth here that Pan Africans can say, I have a refuge. And so, to me, one of the biggest thing to answer your question, to do that, we need to be able to create Africans, and even all the Pan-African countries needs to be able to create a passage in which our people, just like the Israel's doing for Jewish people, be able to come home anytime they want, and not feel, and feel like, yes, I'm home, and that's that. We need to create that passage. And whether it's, I don't know, whether it's somehow figure a way to, and they say somebody like you yourself, which your dad is Nigerian, your mom is American, it'd be great to have a Nigerian say, come home. We'll pay for your trip at 18 to see you decide this is your heritage, and someday if you want to come back and live here, perfect. That kind of, I think that kind of program will help us a lot. In the case of Haiti, yeah, Haiti is very far from Africa, but at least we can say, hey, some Haitian or somebody can say, you know what, at least I can go back home and feel okay. This is one reason why I actually would love that if the African countries will gather some troops and go out there and kind of help break some of these violence, and kind of restore order there. That'd be great. But that's how I think.
Yeah, and
That's
I
what I
and I
believe.
think we're going to dive into that just a little bit more, but I want to get Wesley's thoughts on that because I'm assuming that most of your childhood, just like me, you kind of grew up here, but you had your dad who really installed some of the culture that he grew up in you, and so you probably saw the world from two different points of view, and how important it was having that African roots at home to really, I don't know, I guess ground you as you are seen as a Black American as you're navigating the world here.
I honestly see it as a blessing. Growing up, not having much, I didn't understand until I got older how much that actually meant for me, and how much that set me apart of a lot of people of my own Black culture. There was there was a point where I realized a lot of people of color, especially a lot of Black people, we look for a status,
Mhm.
whether it be through a device or through money, and it's because we're trying to keep up with the Eurocentrism. We're trying to keep up instead of looking at our own future,
Right.
which is completely different. And there was a I forgot the article I read, but basically in the article they were talking about how we don't have a lot of African voters or a lot of Black voters. And the whole reason, you ask a lot of people, do you know what's going on in your country? And they say, I don't have time to do that voting crap. I got to go to work. I got to make my money.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest reason why I feel like people of color, especially Black people, are going to have issues because they're focused on trying to keep up with the status,
With the
keep up with this
Joneses.
money,
Yeah.
but their future isn't depicted by the money,
Right.
because we already started late in that game. The whole economy that we have right now is built off of that, but we didn't get any money off of that. So that game isn't one that we can even win as a people. I mean, not say like it can be there in the future, but trying to make that our starting goal isn't going to put us where we need to be. But education will. And personally, like, I love music. That's my thing. And I love music education and studying artists that were, making music during times where race was a huge deal. And there's one artist that I just started diving into, and I love his music, and his name is Eugene McDaniels. A lot of people don't know about Eugene McDaniels, but they know, like, Feels Like Making Love. and they know that as Roberta Flack.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, Eugene McDaniels wrote that song.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, he was a pretty like not crazy popular, but pretty well-off black artist.
Mm-hmm.
But he was making music not for his own people, for the white audience.
Mm.
And he was just doing all this like I'm happy, happy go lucky kind of music that really wasn't talking about what's happening on the times. It wasn't educating the black people. It wasn't pushing us forward.
Mm-hmm.
And when Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, Eugene McDaniel said, "Nah, I'm not going to be a puppet anymore. I'm not going to make this music. I need to talk about real things." And he moved to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And he left the United States. And that's when he put out an album where he was talking about smog.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about social indifferences with women, talking about how like, oh no, women who can speak their mind and stuff like that, that's the women that we need.
Yeah.
He was making music about racial indifferences. He was making music about what happened to the Native Americans. And right when he started doing that, the U.S. snatched all of his songs off the charts.
Wow.
He was no longer known for making Feels Like Making Love. He was no longer known for all the great music he made in the past. His name just kind of got like, nope. They actually removed all of his records from stores.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to show you that when he cherished having money more, that's all he got, But when he cherished actually educating and the knowledge, yeah, they took his money away, but he felt more free than ever. And he talks about that in his music. He was like, you know what? Yeah, but he's like, we're too far along in the times for me not to teach people the truth.
Yeah.
For me not to teach people about the future. And our future is limited as black people if we're still trying to play this game that we were put into, this box that we were put into, instead of saying, what can we do to grow outside of this box? Not what can I do to grow in this box that was made for me to be in. And that was the blessing part from growing up. My father used to tell me all the time, Wesley, not everyone, and this is how he talks. He said, Wesley, not everyone meant to be rich. And I used to think like,
that's a great advice right there.
And I used to always think like, well, I mean, whenever I do these events and stuff, I'm surrounded by people, where their houses are like, 6-7 figure houses, stuff like that. Yeah. And they look well off. And he goes, well, I mean, there's a lot that comes with that, but not everyone meant to be rich.
No.
And now that I get older, I realize, being a musician, over the last year, I became self-employed where I make money through music and through Ubering. And before I had other jobs where, I'm guaranteed a bigger paycheck because I'm working, my 9 to 5. I'm guaranteed to get paid bi-weekly. Mm-hmm. I've been self-employed for this whole year and the end of last year. And I feel way more free. I'm healthier. Yeah, I don't have more money in my pocket, but I have time to study things I want to, and I'll come home exhausted. And all I really care about is putting a meal in my stomach and then falling asleep. Yeah. And then doing that all the time over and over. Wait, what's going on in the government? I don't know, man. I just work my 9 to 5, man. I'm trying to get this, get this bag. Mm-hmm. And even the culture of music we put in front of each other as black people, the culture we show of black people on TV, it's all about get this money, get this, get this, be a consumer. Mm-hmm. Instead of leave something for your children in here, leave some knowledge, make a difference for the actual future where it can be changed. And if the black communities are really just showing the money and showing that, we're just going to look at our neighbors who have a lot of money, of other races, of other privileges, and still never see that we have enough.
Yeah, there's so much to.
But why not?
Yeah. Go ahead. Finish off your thought.
But yeah, what I think is why not? Because everyone, there's a thing of human nature to always feel like you need more. Mm-hmm. And if you prioritize money in the youth, they're going to always feel like they need more money. Mm-hmm. But if you prioritize the black community knowledge, they're going to feel like, I want to know more. I want to learn more. And that's the way to guarantee we don't live the past. It's good to know like where we come from. But like Kofi was saying earlier, there's certain things that we need to get over. We need to stop being like, yeah, they did this to us. Yeah, we're wrong like this. And say, what can we do for the future? How can I become a successful black person? So that way other black people can say, oh, well, there's hope for me because look at that person. They're black and they're successful and they're not being a sellout. They're not, they're not compromising their soul and their integrity and they're successful. And black representation is massive.
Yeah.
If you don't see it, you don't know it exists.
Yeah. Yeah, which is the whole reason why I started this podcast because I wanted people to see black excellence in all its many different forms, and also to change the narrative for our people of what it means to be wealthy. What is wealth, right? Wealth is being able to live on your own terms, right, and having everything that you need, and not defined it by just that capitalistic standpoint of what wealth is. Mental wealth, like health is wealth, and when I say health is wealth, I'm looking at mental health, physical health, spiritual health.
Yep.
I'm looking at
Hmm.
all these components, right, that make the whole being, not just this capitalistic financial health that we have been centered on, which is the whole essence of a being
Yeah.
for some cultures, which is it breeds a whole different programming, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think true artist and artistry has been able to do that throughout time. Like the one of the artists you mentioned, like if you listen to Bob Marley before, he was he died, which I this whatever you want to believe of what happened to Bob Marley when he used to talk about freeing yourself from mental slavery. If you look at artists from Africa like Fele, who really gave us knowledge that these artists weren't as popular as the pop artists, but there was so much knowledge to be gained by, and beautiful music that to be gained
Hmm.
from some of the things if you go back and really listen, right? That was starting to unite our people, and they want to make sure certain folks want to make sure that we're not connected to that, or the masses don't get that knowledge, that entertainment and that information. And I want to go back to something that Kofi talked about briefly. Having a safe haven in Africa. There's a lot of people who are on the Back to Africa movement. What do you think of the Back to Africa movement and the creation of Liberia?
Um, well, I think like I said, is always a good thing to always have people return back because I think if we can, if our struggles and our experience can bind us together, places like what's going, things like what's going on in Haiti won't happen because all the time we're together and we're always gonna divert some kind of resources to this kind of stuff. And so to me, the idea of people returning back to Africa, I'm fine with it, with the exception of as long as we do not, I do not believe in anybody who goes into another country and the locals end up suffering because of it. I don't believe that. So all this, my pathway creating is well and great as long as we are not squeezing the locals off their own land or make them struggle. A lot of this African migration is going on. You also have to be careful because it's, people already have that mindset of the like Eurocentric, and that to me is what we need to get away from. We Africans, we have this cognitive that look. It took me years to live here, and I'm blessed that my parents were able to bring me here. It took me years to realize that the West has nothing on Pan Africans. The way we think, the way we do things, we're far more in it. We're far more ahead of our times. But somehow we have letting ourselves revel back into basic thinking. And so to me, the idea of all these people migrating, as long as if you're trying to build the African brand, the African cognizance, as long as a lot of these people are not bringing that ideas of the West, or at least they're open to taking, how these local lives and help them thrive and be part of it, I think is a beautiful thing. And again, to get back to this whole Haitian thing, when we're able to do that, then we can help our own people even halfway across the world. If we can create that togetherness, like I said, the Jewish community is one of my favorite communities because they can do. It doesn't matter where you are as a Jewish, Israel will suck you in. I mean, there's a beauty to that you cannot you can't you I cannot tell you how beautiful. I mean, you look at I've never met, I have a lot of Jewish friends, and together to the point where even they themselves, when I'm in trouble or when I need help support, they'll come to my aid. You know what I mean? So to me, it's incredible how that if we can create that togetherness, how we can actually spread that, to help others, other Pan Africans across the world and things like that. So to answer your question, yeah, I think it's a great idea, but we need to also be careful that we are not taking that same cognitive Eurocentrism thinking back home. We're trying to leave that behind and really embrace the people we are, to find the essence of who we are because we've done this.
Yeah.
Look, civilization began in Africa. It's not, it's been proven over and over. It is not a myth. It's a
Right.
proven, people have seen is we know how to do this.
Hmm.
It just so happens that somehow we lost faith in ourselves and let somebody else change us.
Yeah.
But
I
we need
mean,
to get back to it. So,
if
so,
you even look at our history, like where else have you seen pyramids to this day? And this was done at
yeah,
a time without all the technology, right?
yeah. And they still can explain it. Even mathematicians can still explain how this thing was built so perfectly.
Yeah.
So the point is that the way we think, the way we are, the way we got something, we cannot let it all go to waste. It's the same thing. Go back to Haiti, 1804. A group of slaves realized that slavery is not the future. When people actually think, "Oh, this is," no, they saw that this is not the future we want to go, and fought and rebelled.
Yeah.
So we have that cognizance, we have that smartness, we have that intelligence. Let's go back to that. We're cultivators, just like if you look at all the indigenous group that existed, whether it's the Mayans, the Incas, the um, the Africans, the Native Americans. Okay, one of my favorite groups of Native Americans. You look at the way they live, it's very, very similar. All these groups have a very overlapping way they live, and it's not coincidence.
Yeah.
It is not coincidence. We need to get back to that. To get to Wesley's point, we need to get back to that, because if we can get back to that, then we can really help our people. We can go and say, "Hey, we're here to help," because that's just the way it works.
Yeah.
Let anybody call us socialist, whatever. I don't care. You know. Um,
Yeah.
so
And
to me, I think all those creations are beautiful as long as we're not losing that cognizance. If a lot of people don't get, to me, what it all boils down to is the thinking process. That's really what it boils down to, right? People don't realize that. Look, you can have a friend who's black, who's white, who's Asian, who's this, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, what the system we've created is doing is, how do we think? And a lot of both of you have said it. We are very Eurocentric, and that is not we. Eurocentric is Europe. It's okay for Europe to think the way they think. That's fine. Environment define who we are. We are not. We're not Eurocentric. We don't think that way. There's certain ways that Africans, Native Americans, the way they process things. We need to go back to that, because if we can go back to that, we'll create a place to stand to be able to help Haiti and all these diasporas that is, having all these issues, to be self-sufficient,
yeah.
because we cannot rely on every day, and in Europe's defense, okay, so they slave us. So they do say, how long are we gonna go holding that cloud over their heads? You know what I mean? How long are we gonna do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can't. We need to drop it and help ourselves.
Yeah. And you two are doing something beautiful on the path to getting back. We're trying to give back, and to get back to the conversation of what you all are doing to give back to Haiti. I think is beautiful. Let's talk about that for a little bit to close us out.
Yep.
What are you doing to give back so that we can get back? And tell us a little bit more about what's going on with that.
Okay, so like I said, when I wake up that middle of the night, and I first thing I say is, what, it would be cool to have a live music event, and like Wesley and I have been telling the San Diego, especially OB, the musical scene is very tight. The local. So we had this idea and said, oh, look, let's create a live music event and sell tickets, raise some funds. Even if we can buy one water processing thing to send to Haiti, that's a beautiful thing. And so what we're doing is I'm actually researching. It was actually I think I talked to Wesley a while ago, and I got that idea from him. Rather than us getting all this money and doing this ourselves, I'm researching a nonprofit organization that is boots on ground in Haiti, working, helping people out, and maybe back them up with this money we raise to help them do. And so I'm being very careful what organization, because for me, if my name is attached to this, I want to make sure that every cent we raise is going to help somebody, not 50% of it is going to overhead to run, the office stuff, and then 50% is helping people. I want to make sure that whatever money we've raised $10. $10 is going to help the people directly. And so I'm researching an organization that is really boots on ground over there doing that. Not the Red Cross. The Red Cross do good stuff, but I think they have the too big to kind of get directly to the people. So I'm looking for an
Yeah.
organization that is really one on one with the people. And the idea is to get we're getting our friends together, musicians. We got a band called Band of Gringos. They're very big in San Diego scene. We got Boostifs. We have Boostif. We got Les Africains. And actually, my man Wesley is also going to Wesley's dad is a musician, so we're going to incorporate him as well. And we call THC, which is the holding company in OB, and they were down. Literally, that's how beautiful this is how incredible humans are. We got this idea. We call all these people, and nobody hesitated. We call the holding company, and they go, "When do you want to do this?" And now we're on the calendar for December 18th. I mean,
Nice.
that is how much that is the kindness of people. And for
Nice.
me, I've always said I'm the product of the kindness of strangers.
Yeah.
And so things like this, I will dive in head first.
Right.
Right. But that's literally, I talked to the guy, his name is Jake. I call him, this guy was on
Big
the
shout
hook
out to
from the
Jake.
beginning. Yeah, Jake. Yeah, thank you so much. This guy was on the hook. We got the fly design. He's posted it. We got all this. We setting the price and everything going. So December 18th, from 2 to 8, we're gonna have local bands, live music. We got T-shirt going. We have all kinds of stuff that people can buy and support. In addition to that, next week sometime, I'm taking off to Turkey. But before that, I want to set up a GoFundMe page
Nice.
to see if we can even get people who can make it to the event. Maybe they can donate here and there. And at the end of the day, all that money, we're going to find a good nonprofit organization that is on the ground doing this. And we're going to make sure that they're using every bit of this money to help people back there. Me
Right.
personally, if we can
So
buy
so
a
ladies
water
and gentlemen,
purification system, that's great.
yeah, ladies and gentlemen,
Is there
y'all
anything you
make
want to
sure
add,
y'all
Wesley?
go out and support December. Give me the dates again. December at what?
December 18th from 2 to 8 at the holding company in OB.
At the holding
December
company in
18th.
OB. And
Yeah.
and 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 as we wrap up, because we have to get ready to wrap up here, Wesley, um, give them. Here's what I want you to give them, Wesley. Where can and both of you can add to this. Where can people connect and stay in touch with you to learn more about how they can support? And then Wesley, I want you to tell as a Haitian, what are your hopes and dreams for the future?
My hopes and dreams for the future of Haiti is for them to be sustainable again on their own. And even if it means they need help at first, there's nothing wrong with asking for help or needing help. And I've learned that as an adult. There's been multiple times where I was basically self sabotaging myself because I just wouldn't say I need help or wouldn't accept help. And I feel like once Haiti gets a little bit of help, they'll be able to be self sustainable. And that's my dream for Haiti. And to answer your other question, um, you can reach out to me on if you want to on Instagram. It's Wesley Blows. It's like I'm a horn player, so I blow. Yeah, but yeah, Wesley Blows. You can come to THC on the 18th and talk to Kofi or myself about it, and we'll give you so much more information.
Great.
And Yeah, Kofi.
And
And likewise, if you want more information, go to the THC website. They are starting to sell tickets right now. You can also contact me, Word of Mouth Kitchen on Instagram. It's my company, but I'll get all those message, and I can also give you email. Can I do email here?
yeah, go ahead and do
It's
email. And don't
Bernard.
worry if you driving, ladies and gentlemen, or you didn't get it here. I'm gonna make sure I get all of their information and links and everything to put into
Yep.
the show notes. So go ahead, drop the email.
Yeah, so the email is Bernard underscore Ando. So the Bernard is BERNARD underscore Ando, ANDOH at yahoo.com. Again, it's Bernard, BERNARD underscore ANDOH at yahoo.com. Contact me. I'll be more than happy to send you every information. And then we're looking for support. Anybody who wants to help, come on out. And these are great musicians. They're wonderful musicians. You're going to see all kinds of amazing performers. It's something I'm looking forward to. And my man said, yeah, we're going to send you all that information so you can link to it. We got flyers and all kinds of stuff in the works. So I'm
Yeah,
excited
so
about it.
so y'all make sure y'all come out and support all my people from San Diego. Come out and support. Even if you are listening to this, you over in the UK, Nigeria, wherever you at, my listeners out there, still link up, email, see how you can support. Let us not let this moment go in vain. Like sometimes we get so numb to all of the news and everything that we turn off our level of humanity because we can't take anymore. This is not one of those times. Everybody has the right to clean drinking water. So let us do what we can
Yes.
to support just the basic needs of humanity. Make sure people get what they need. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Wesley and Kofi, for coming through and just sharing this moment. I appreciate you both, and I'm honored and blessed to share this moment with you to get more knowledge, more wisdom. I can't wait to support the show, and we will catch you all on the next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. And Wesley, I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to you, my man Simmons. Thank you for having us. Appreciate this. This is great.
Anytime.
All right. See you guys.